Last week, Lindsey Boetsch showed us a little bit of her green thumbs with the basics of gardening. Today, her green thumbs are a little more green, or a little bigger, or she's hoping anyway. Good morning, Lindsey.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, this garden is beautiful. We are out at Four Winds Farm this morning. It's gorgeous, and Deborah Lee has put a lot of time and effort into working out here. And we're talking a little bit about container planting this morning. Explain a little bit about what, first of all, can go in a container.
Well, I have a lot of things that I put in containers, and what I'm doing here is, since I work with herbs a lot, this is just a simple little container that you could hang outside your kitchen window, or you could even move it different places if you had it on a porch. And so I have some dill already in here. There's some potting mix, and then I wanted to show you how to tickle a plant. Because a lot of times when you take a plant out, if you purchase it, if you can see this, the roots are pretty bound up.
Yeah.
So instead of jerking it apart, we say, well, you tickle it, and you kind of come underneath and pull it out gently and get those roots out a little bit so they can stretch out, and then you just put this into your potting compound.
And you do that with all of the plants then?
All of the plants. If you're doing that in a container or you're doing it out in the garden or wherever, you need to tickle the plants. Otherwise, they don't grow nearly as well.
Now, you have two different types of herbs in this. Can you put a lot of things, different things in containers?
This basil is going to get pretty tall, and so is the dill. So you need to keep putting it back. But this is probably, you can maybe put one more thing in here. Now, I also wanted to show a bigger container. These are nice because they're recycled, and I love that. This is a feed container from ADM Feeds. We took and drilled some holes in the bottom of that. And I have, since I have, on the farm here, I get a lot of free straw, but I have in the bottom of that kind of some soil that actually I pulled out with some plants. And then I put in straw, and then I put in potting mix. And you can see over at the one on the side, I'm starting to grow some zucchini squash there. And that's going to vine over, and it's going to look very nice.
So you can put anything in those?
Yes.
Mostly?
I'm just starting to do this. Last year I had some sweet potatoes when you were out here, and I had huge sweet potatoes that were huge. And I did that because of the voles. Now, this is a raised bed garden, and I had a lot of vegetables, but I wanted to have this become an official certified Herb of the Year garden. So I have about 40 different kind of herbs in here. So I expanded the vegetables kind of out on the exterior. And some of what I wanted to do was just do with containers, so it would look real tidy, and it'd be another educational component for people. And
you have a lasagna garden.
We do.
Well, we're going to talk about that here coming up in a little bit, what it is, what it means, and how you can make one, and that's coming up next half hour.
All right, very cool. And I see you're in boots.
Boots. I planned accordingly. We're in a garden. I didn't want to get some heels dirty. She probably didn't need me to aerate the garden with some heels. So, boots it is.
Good thinking, Lindsey. All right, we should just have Lindsey do the weather since she's out in it.
She could.
Looks like a very
It's really nice. There's a thin layer of clouds above us. The sun's starting to come up behind us.
I can hear the birds chirping.
Feels like it's about 65 degrees, maybe. I don't know.
Well,
Tegan, your turn.
Do it. It might be more accurate.
Yeah, maybe Tegan can.
And a little bit foggy there this morning. Hopefully not having that here in the Tri-Cities
I'd
today,
much rather be here.
Yeah, definitely. Welcome back.
Lindsey Boetsch is in the garden. She is lasagna gardening. What's that all about?
Yeah. It sounds delicious, doesn't it?
Does.
Yeah, that fog, I'll have that stay in Atlanta. It's a great day out here. It's a beautiful day. The sun's starting to come up over the horizon. There's a few clouds over there. That's enough of that weather forecast for you as well. I figured it's probably feeling about 10 degrees warmer because I have a sweatshirt and a jacket on. So that's where that 10 degrees of difference came from earlier in the show. Anyway, yes, we're in the garden. It smells so good. It smells like a lot of delicious herbs that you would be using in some recipes. And Deborah Lee has worked very, very hard on this garden for how many years?
Oh, this one's about 10 years old.
Yeah. And so explain a little bit about what you have here, a lot of raised beds. What is that, and why do you use those?
Well, I've had a vegetable garden here for 9 years, and the last 4 years have been raised beds. You want to have your gardens raised about 4 feet wide, so you don't have to step on them, and you can keep enriching the soil. So that's what I've been doing. If you can see back in the areas, this is all educational garden now for herbs, and it looks real tidy this way. And now I have a compost pile that we're going to talk about later, and I just keep adding different things to it. Our front garden here, which we'll come to in a moment, is the lasagna garden, which is something that a person could do on top of your lawn, or really just on top of a driveway if you don't have soil. Now I have terrific soil, so that's a blessing. But if you shoot over here, Mark, and you can see that we've built up this area, and it's actually 9 layers on this garden. We started with cardboard that we wetted down, and then we put leaves on top of that, and then some from the compost pile. We put peat moss on, and then more shredded leaves, and another layer of compost, and then a lot of grass clippings in between there. And so you actually are making soil, you're building it up. If you want to just have a little extra assurance, you can take some potting mix and put your plant right in that in the beginning, and you just keep adding this. So it's pretty exciting, I think, that you can do this on a driveway. We had Pat Lanza come for U of I Extension gardening conference this spring, and she wrote the book Lasagna Garden. So you don't have to grow things in there for lasagna, but it's a layered effect. So as you look out, all the gardens have the nice look with the raised beds. You use a non-treated lumber for this. I used 2x8s, and they were treated with a salt. You don't want to have any kind of chemicals on there. And because they're up on their sides, they should last a very long time.
And now in the center of the garden, you kind of have more herbs, and then you have the vegetables on the outside. Explain what this is here. We have this beautiful arc here, and it looks like some plants that are growing up it.
Right. This is a pig gate, which is nice. You spread it over, and we're having tomatoes on either side. And this is going to come up, so the tomatoes will come up this way, and then they'll hang down. It's real easy to pick. I have some cucumbers planted in a container in the middle, and as they spread out, I don't have to worry about weeding or anything because it'll come out on the straw. On the ends, on the side, on this right side, is some basil. Basil is a companion plant to tomatoes. It enhances the growth and the flavor of the tomatoes. And because this is all about herbs too here, that's wonderful. Over on the other side, I have some cayenne peppers, and the tomatoes and the cayenne peppers feed nicely into one another and help one another. And in the background, there's herbs that you can see. I have some mint confined in containers. Mint is a companion to a lot of different vegetables and herbs. It enhances the growth. But if you plant mint right in your garden, it really will take over.
Awesome.
So we have those contained. We have 3 different kinds of mints in containers, and then parsley growing right next to that.
All right, and over a little bit to the left of that, you have your compost pile. And we're going to talk a little bit about what you need to save or keep when you're going to start your own compost pile, and that's coming up in the next half hour.
Cool. We'll have to get you back out of the garden here in a few weeks or months to see what it looks like as everything grows.
Yeah.
When you're done with your food, you can throw it in the garbage disposal, or you can just throw it in the garbage can.
Or you can make a compost pile.
Good. Oscar the Grouch here with Lindsey Boetsch talking about composting and gardening this morning. Good morning, Lindsey.
Who are you calling a grouch, Chad?
I'm with trash can. I don't know.
He's trash talking you.
Yeah, okay. I know, I heard that. Oh, I get it. Trash talking.
Yes,
I like it. But
get there a little faster next time.
yeah, we're talking about expanding your garden, making your garden as beautiful as it can be. We're live this morning at Four Winds Farms, and it is gorgeous. This garden is incredible. Deborah Lee has worked very hard for many, many years to get this garden the way it is. Explain a little bit, first of all, about how you got this started.
Well, I had a goal for a long time of wanting to do a teaching center out here. And so I just started this as a vegetable garden and tilled it up, and 4 years ago made raised beds out of it. So, and that's structures on the side, and you can build up the soil. We wanted to talk a little bit, I think, about the compost pile too.
Yep,
Everything's organic here, and a compost pile can be fun, especially if you have a little pickup truck. That helps. It's almost empty now. Just took a simple gate and put around it. I have several compost piles, but when the leaves come out in the fall, I get really excited about that. People throw them away, and I like to shred them and put them in the pile. Also grass clippings. A couple of times I've put in aged manure. I'll get that. I'll have a little pickup truck, and I'll go out and get manure that's 2 or 3 years old, so there's no seeds coming up in it. And you just mix all that stuff in together. This is pretty low now. Yesterday morning it was about 2 feet higher, and then we took this and top dressed. And if you looked at the material here, it didn't compost all the way down to soil, but it's partially composted. And when you put that on top of your soil, then it's like a natural fertilizer. It adds nitrogen as it decomposes. You see that I have a lot of straw in the aisleways and the paths. And when that decomposes, it actually can steal a little nitrogen from your soil, as does wood mulch. So if you top dress with the compost, it's really a great way to not have your weeds come up and to fertilize.
Now you said that you use this for educational purposes. You have cooking classes?
Yes, this summer I have quite a few cooking classes going on, so people will come out and they'll pick their herbs, and then we'll go inside, we'll make some pesto or maybe herbal vinegar, using herbs with salad and other cooking. So that'll be coming up. And then I also do medicinal herb classes. I've had a 9-week class that I've been doing, and I have another 9-week class that'll start in the fall. And again, each time we come out and we collect things and we make them. We make salves from the herbs, or we make tinctures or teas, dry herbs, and then people can take a lot of that home with them.
Awesome. And now, just real quick, what can you put in your compost pile in terms of food? What are good food items instead of throwing them out?
You want to have things that are kind of small, have your vegetable waste, chop it up a little bit maybe. Coffee grounds are perfect. I have a lot of coffee grounds that I have in here. You want to avoid meat or anything that will have critters come. And then when you do put your food in, you want to kind of cover it up a little bit so it's not laying just there on the top.
All right, sounds good. Beautiful garden. Learning a lot of great gardening tips here this morning at Four Winds Farms.
Very nice. Thank you, Lindsey.
It's pretty cool. There was that family that had all of their waste in one mason jar that we talked about last week. So it's kind of going along with that. I think it's so cool to find different ways to get rid of your garbage.
Very neat.
Very cool. Thanks, Linz.